Hello everyone and welcome back for another Star Trek Discovery Starships Collection review. I have in front of me issue number 12, the USS Enterprise. Of course, the USS Enterprise, at least the refit before the other refit. And so yeah, this is the smaller version. This is the version that is part of the normal Star Trek Discovery Starships Collection line. This is not the extra large XL edition that came out late last year. And so, as you can see, the ship is in a box here, nice small usual little box that these ships in the Discovery Collection come in, and I have a magazine, so I'm going to just put this aside for a moment and then I'll dive right in to the magazine. Alright, and there we are, issue number 12. The USS Enterprise, of course, a nice image of the ship on the cover. As always, the magazines for this collection are glossy and have a very nice look to them overall. And a nice image there, as I mentioned. And of course, some basic information down here in the corner. Constitution class, of course, in the 23rd century. And this version of the Enterprise is 442.06 meters long. So I guess bigger than the original Enterprise that everybody's used to. And of course, you turn the page and the format once again remains the same. And here you see how to mount it to the stand, of course, for those of you who are not sure. And some more specification information down there, which really isn't much, except that it's here, it says it's affiliated with the Federation. Of course, we all know that. And so yeah, you turn the page and you have the same image on the cover repeated inside of the magazine, with a few other smaller images there, along with some brief text, so not much there. And then you turn the page and you have a really nice image there, a couple of nice images, as well as some more text there, which is kind of cool. And here's a section on the designing, or should I say the redesigning of the Enterprise yet again. And there's some text down there and more text and concept art there on both sides, just to kind of give you an idea. Now, to be fair, I don't know if this redesign process was all because of that whole 25% difference alternate license thing. I don't know how true that is, but based on what we've seen as Star Trek fans since really 2009, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Because why wouldn't they just simply design things the way they were and make things slightly better, more updated, I suppose, if you want to go that route. But yeah, I mean, I can sit here and jump into why I think Discovery was a bad idea from the start. But, you know, especially the whole prequel, pre-original series thing. But that's a whole other story. Because again, I just feel like they painted themselves into a corner, and even though they proclaimed numerous times during season 1, yeah, we'll never ever see Spock, we'll never see the Enterprise, this is far away from the Enterprise as possible, we know they're out there, etc., etc., and then they did. So it's just one of those things. And you know, and I guess as a result of this supposed 25% difference, the Enterprise was one of the things to suffer that casualty, I guess. And a few changes were made here and there. But to be honest, at least they kept the overall look and aesthetic, unlike the J.J. Abrams films. And I guess this design can easily be explained in universe as having been refitted. So I guess now the timeline of the original Enterprise goes as follows. So I guess you have the original design that was seen in the cage, and then of course after the cage, sometime after the cage, the ship was refitted or retrofitted again to look like this. And then I guess sometime between the Discovery era and where no man has gone before, that is the Kirk era, the beginning of the original series as we knew it, it gets returned to its original state, and then slightly modified again if you count the various changes they made to the model during the production of the original series. And then, of course, at the end of the original series, the 3-year run or 5-year mission, however way you want to look at it, the ship once again gets refitted and ends up into the version that we saw in the motion picture and beyond. So yeah, that thing has been modified a few times. And so anyway, getting back to this. So yeah, we have some concept art, some text there, imagery, of course, and then another few images and more text, as well as some detail on the shuttle bay area and the impulse engines, And the magazine concludes with a view of the ship there and another view of the extended shuttle bay, as well as more text there. And the already issue number 13, which I reviewed maybe about a month or so ago, because I just got this in not too long ago, or actually I've had for about a month. I just kind of been lagging here, so I apologize for that. So now the magazine concludes and you get a nice image there on the back. So now I'm going to jump right into the model itself and get right into this box. All right, there she is, the USS Enterprise, the Discovery, the Disco Prize, as it has become affectionately known among its supporters and haters alike, if you want to call them that too. In all honesty, as much as I like the XL version, I prefer this size much more. It's not heavy. I mean, it fits in your hand like that, so it's kind of big, but the XL was a little bit bigger. This is very nice. I will admit that. As I hold the ship in my hand, hold the model in my hand, the design kind of grows on you, and you can clearly see by the paint applications and all of that they were kind of building a bridge or a gap between the NX-01 and the original Enterprise. Now, in my opinion, from watching season 2 of Discovery, the Enterprise just sticks out like a sore thumb among all of those other Federation ships of the era, because it just doesn't really add up. It's one of the many problems that I have with the show in general. I mean, yeah, once again, I know it's not the 1960s anymore, but anytime you ever saw a Federation starship on the original series, they all pretty much either look Constitution class or similar, close, very close. And the number one thing, of course, that was uniform across the board was all the warp nacelles at the time were cylindrical, and they have the spinning warp coils in the front. But for some reason, the producers of Discovery decided not to do that. Probably, like I said, as a result of the whole 25% difference things, which would at least make more sense, right? But anyway, this model is pretty nice, and I'm actually quite happy with it. And before I conclude this thing later on, I'll kind of show you a side-by-side comparison between this one and the XL, just so you can kind of see. But this is really nice. The metal, of course, is the saucer section, and plastic down there at the bottom. You can see the ring going around there, so there's two parts were joined together. You have your registry, NCC-1701, on both sides, and it's also there on the front there as well, nice and crisp for once. And it's really nice. I'm actually happy with it. And my nacelles are not bent or wonky or anything. They kind of line up really nicely. There's the aft view of the ship there, and you can kind of see the blue clear plastic or whatnot for the nacelle, the inside of the nacelles, and the back of the nacelles as well. So you can tell that they really kind of respected the original Matt Jeffries design, and we get the old style deflector dish. Again, as much as they made a few changes to the ship, it still stuck out like a sore thumb on the show. So yeah, honestly though, in my opinion, if you had to make a choice between this one and the XL edition that came out back in, like, I don't know, December, I think, I would go ahead and get this one. So obviously it's more economical, and the level of detail is pretty much the same. It's smaller, it takes up less room, and you know, this is just where it's at. And I think with all of the hype surrounding the reveal of the ship and the model and all that earlier in the year, last year, by the time the XL came out, people were just grabbing them like they were, you know, they couldn't stock the thing long enough. And of course it took forever for the magazine to come. So yeah, and in fact it even took long to get this one. It just, you know, of course I got the work bee first before this one, but anyway, at the end of the day it all worked out, and now I have the two. So yeah, it's a pretty nice model. I'm really happy with it. It looks really nice there, very high quality here. This is one of those times where I say Eagle Moss did a good job as far as the window alignment. Not too bad on mine, and in fact some of the windows on the neck are actually painted on, so you won't have any kind of like grooves or anything to worry about misalignment. Yeah, it looks nice. The registry on the nacelles look nice on both sides, so that's always good. And I would like to have had these a little bit more brighter color-wise, maybe a little more of a yellowish, in my opinion. Doesn't look bad, or at least have the little speckles that you see on the show, on the original show. You know, the design is actually nice. If they had just swept the nacelles forward, the struts forward as they were in the original series, and maybe just shaved off this like extra shuttle bay extension thing and closed the gap on the struts, I probably would have like loved the design a little bit more. I like it, but don't love it. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. The bridge looks all right. Everything looks pretty good here, and it will make a worthy addition to your collection. And this is issue number 12. Yeah, this is issue number 12. And so yeah, that pretty much is the USS Enterprise, the standard edition. Now, in a couple seconds here, I'm just going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to compare it just size-wise between this one and the XL. So hold on a minute. All right, folks, and so I'm back now. I have both models in my hand. So here is the standard edition, which we're talking about right now, and here is the XL edition. Hold on, let me move this box out of the way. There it is. So you can kind of see, look at the size comparison. All right, so it's a bit smaller. This one is a bit smaller, and this thing is huge. It's also heavy. But if you look, the detail is pretty much the same. There's no real loss in quality here. If you were to put the two side by side, see? The paint apps are pretty close to each other, so that's nice. The back, their stern looks great, right? The front looks good as well. So the detail is pretty good. Nice and crisp. Nice and crisp. And the nacelles are pretty much the same. Though obviously they're comparison in size, right? So yeah. Again, this looks great. It's awesome. I like it a lot. But for the money, I would say go with this. It's a much better, more economical, less heavy, takes up less room. That doesn't mean that the quality isn't good, because the quality is good. But this has a lot more metal in it than this one, if in case you're wondering, right? So yeah, I would highly recommend this one, especially if you're a fan of Discovery, if you're a fan of the original Enterprise or any version or any ship that has the name Enterprise, and this is for you, and pick it up. If you don't like Star Trek Discovery and don't care for anything that it stands for, then you can avoid this one, and no one will blame you for it. Quite honestly, this will be my last Discovery ship for a while. I have canceled that subscription just because, I don't know, it's nothing really there that nothing really left that I think of that I can really want, that I really want. I have the Starfleet ships, most of them. I have the Enterprise now, and maybe if down the line something comes up, I can always order it online on the web shop. So whenever that comes up, and whenever there's one I think I'll like, I'll make sure to grab that, and of course that review will be shared with you as well as soon as I get it. And so yeah, this is the USS Enterprise issue number 12, and yeah, now I'm going to be quiet and show you what this thing looks like on the stand. And until next time, live long and prosper, guys. Be safe, be kind, and be good to each other.